3,000 years ago, the Shang dynasty was the greatest nation of its time in the East, in what is now China. But in its final days, the pillars that held the country together were rotting, and the suffering of the people grew deeper with each passing day. At the center of it all stood the last king of Shang, King Zhou. King Zhou was not a tyrant from the beginning. In the early years of his reign, he showed some decisiveness and ability to rule. But over time, he gradually fell into corruption, and above all, after meeting one particular woman, he became an entirely different person. Her name was Daji. Daji was originally a princess from Su, a small vassal state. King Zhou suspected Su of plotting rebellion and launched a campaign against them. Su surrendered and offered Daji as a sign of submission, but the people had long believed the rumors.
Su foresaw the fall of Shang and raised Daji as a weapon to destroy it.
According to some legends, Daji had been trained since childhood in dancing, singing, beauty, psychological manipulation, even cruelty. She was a political tool, a beautiful weapon, crafted to seduce the king and bring down the nation from within. Other stories claim that Daji was possessed by a fox spirit. Under the mandate of heaven, the fox had taken on Daji's body to fulfill the fate of bringing down a doomed dynasty. The moment King Zhou first laid eyes on Daji, he lost all reason. Her gaze, her voice, every movement, it was as if she had cast a spell. He became addicted to her, unable to bear even a day without her. With the king's love behind her, Daji gradually seized control of the palace. She encouraged indulgence, eliminated loyal ministers, and whispered increasingly terrifying desires into the king's ear. I want to see what it looks like when a person is roasted alive. At her word, King Zhou created the Paolao, torture a bronze pillar coated with oil and heated until red hot. Prisoners were forced to walk across it if they slipped. They fell into the flames and were burned alive. Daji laughed as she watched. Together, they created a vast lake of wine and forest of meat, known as Juchi Yulan. Naked men and women played in the debauchery, while the people of the kingdom wept blood. When Bigan, a loyal minister, warned the king to distance himself from Daji, she said, "A true sage can live without a heart." King Zhou believed her and cut open Bigan's chest, removing his heart. The people groaned in agony, and the ministers fell silent in fear. Behind all of this stood Daji. The people came to call her the fox who devoured the nation. At last, King Wu of Western Zhou rose in rebellion, backed by the will of the people. In 1046 BC, on the fields of Muya, the final battle between Shang and Zhou was fought, and Shang was utterly destroyed. Sensing defeat, King Zhou set fire to his own palace and perished in the flames. Daji's end differs from tale to tale. Some records say she was captured and beheaded. Others claim she took her own life. Daji is remembered in history as one of China's 4 great villainesses, but people still ask,
was she truly born a villain?
Perhaps she was a political sacrifice who never chose her fate. Or perhaps she was a scapegoat in male-centered historical records, forced to carry the blame for a nation's downfall. What is certain, however, is that an entire era trembled because of her, and even 3,000 years later, her name is still spoken.